Hi, Peggy. Thank you. Thank you so much for celebrating the 22nd Happiness Happens month with us. I know you've got a new book that came out about happiness, and we'll get to talk about that sooner. Just so everybody knows, this is our first meeting. Peggy was a referral to me from somebody else I interviewed, and she was kind enough to join us. So I'm so happy about that. So I think my first question, and I got this from reading your bio and reading your press kit that was gorgeous, and just learning more about you, was it struck me that you're a really giving person. So I asked you to share a story about giving. You founded a nonprofit. I read that you do mentorship. So you're just obviously super giving. You can share a story about any type of giving, but I was really hoping that you would share a story about that today.
Yeah, it would be my pleasure. I really am a huge advocate of giving and giving back. And I tend to love to give back to seniors because I think that they've spent their whole life giving. And it's a great opportunity to add some joy into somebody's life who may be isolated, lonely. They've watched all their friends go through changes or pass away. And so I believe that truly a surefire way to ignite your happiness is to feel joy by helping somebody else. And I love committing random acts of kindness where I just see somebody that needs help, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to put my needs aside, and I'm going to go in and do something for them that's really going to add value. And one of my favorite stories was during COVID, and it was kind of during the height of COVID. And I was going grocery shopping, and there was a 93-year-old woman who was just struggling with even just walking, getting her grocery cart. You could tell the whole grocery shopping experience was a real challenge for her. And so I asked her if I could join her and I could help her with her grocery shopping. And she said, sure. And we spent an hour together in the grocery store. I learned all about how to pick out the perfect banana, how to tell if a can has a dent in it, it's fresh, and just all of this stuff. But for me, it was just so rewarding when we got to the end of shopping and I got to know her, and she looked at me and she said, my days are quiet. I am isolated. I have nobody to talk to. I have nobody to share my life with. My family doesn't live here. This is the best hour that I've spent. And I thought about that, and I was helping her through the checkout counter, and I thought to myself, if she was looking at food stamps and she was going to pay for her food with food stamps, and I thought, you know what? Nothing I could buy could be more important than helping this woman. So I helped her with her groceries, and I gave her a business card, and I said, you need to go shopping anytime. You pick up the phone, you call me, I will take you. I can tell that it's really hard for you to reach and to stretch and to move around. So let me help you. So my phone rang about a day afterwards, and I didn't think anything of it. And it was all of her family members. And my phone rang exactly 32 times. She had told all of her friends, her relatives, everybody who lived out of town, because they all did, just about how this one thing really made her day and really helped her. And then all of a sudden it made my day. It was 2 hours of my time. It was not a big deal, but yet I was really able to help somebody with something that was really difficult for them. So getting back to the core value of helping others, I believe that when you help others, it gives back huge dividends because you get to feel the joy of helping somebody else who needs it.
Wow, you just went through so many types of happiness in your story. It just makes my heart smile and happy because we forget that giving, sometimes it can be something super simple, like giving of our time. I sometimes think giving has to be like a big gift, or it really, the most important thing we can really ever give somebody is that human connection, that connection and giving of our time, which really is one of our most precious resources. But I love that you got 32 calls, calls of gratitude. You got people calling to thank you. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing
Yeah,
that
and it was such a
story.
small thing to do, but yet for weeks afterwards, I would be getting phone calls telling me how much it just helped her through a difficult time. And now that woman is a friend of mine, you know,
Well, yeah, I was
she
going to ask if you were in touch.
yeah, I call her and see how she's doing and see what she needs and try to be a resource for her, even if it's just for a conversation on the phone. Because, you know, in reality, for so many seniors, they're isolated, they can't get around, they don't drive. And just having somebody to talk to is a game changer for them.
Yeah, well, it's honestly it's a game changer for everyone. I think it's
Mhm.
why the as we're transitioning with COVID, I don't like to use the word post COVID completely because I think it's still lingering. But anyway, the transition from COVID to where we're living with it, but we are actually outliving again. People really started realizing the value of that human connection and their relationships, and because sometimes it's easy to say you get people tired, but then all of a sudden we started craving people because we're like, oh, I want that in-person connection. And it's it's taught us a lot globally, I think.
Yeah, and just I guess to elaborate on that, I think one of the things that to me being with others does is it gets me out of my own head and I start to think about the bigger picture, right? I all those voices in my head start to think about other people, other things, the greater good, and there's something beautiful to think about when you're thinking about the greater good, not just
Yeah,
your own individual goals and needs.
exactly. I sing that T-shirt that says Galileo was wrong. Um, the world does revolve around me, or something. It's kind of making that joke about that's really not true. The world is very big, and the more we can connect and give to others, and it helps us. So let's go to our next question. So I know your book this year just came out called "Happiness is Your Responsibility." So I don't happen to have my copy with me because I'm traveling, but would you like, if you have it, please show it because we want our people to see what it looks like. If you don't have it, that's okay.
I do
Um,
have it. Of course I have it. Here it is.
Yay! So it's a beautiful, beautiful cover, and the SheCAN is actually her nonprofit foundation. But if you'd like to share, just share a little bit about what our readers would take away if they get to go pick up your book and read it. What would make them a little happier from reading your book?
Yeah, I really wanted an easy to read book that people could pick up, look at a couple of pages, and feel inspired or figure out a way to jumpstart their happiness. So it's really a toolkit to jumpstart your happiness. A ton of motivational moments. Sometimes they're personal stories. Sometimes they're funny stories. Sometimes they're how to. Sometimes they're exercises, things you can do to make the moment a little more enjoyable or a learning experience, but it's really a hodgepodge of different things. It's a coffee table book, and people who have read it have told me that it's a great book to pick up when you need a little motivation, a little inspiration, a little bit of joy in your life. And a lot of people have also told me it's funny because I tend to do funny things. I tend to get myself into predicaments that are pretty humorous, and I love making fun of myself.
Well, that's humor again. Another type of happiness. It sounds like it's very filled with what I call happiness as a verb. So it's filled with happiness in action, and that those are types of happiness as well as that more peaceful, content type of happiness. I think we're going to cover all 31 in our interview. Maybe I need no more interviews this month. So our final question is, I also know that some of your happiness stuff has also been your own journey to getting there. But one of the final questions I'm asking everybody is that in my book, Practical Happiness, that came out this year, the first principle is happiness is personal. So I want to know a little bit about what one of your happiness is personals is, which means it might not impact your significant other, or your other family members, friends, but it's a little bit about you. But I think you have a slightly different take, a little bit of a different story than we've been hearing about. How you've come up to know your happiness as personals.
Yeah, I mean, I was that that single working mom who was eat, work, sleep, repeat. And people would look at me and think I'm successful from the outside because I had a great job. I traveled the world and I had hundreds of employees working for me, and it all looked really, really good. But I really didn't have time to enjoy myself. And I kind of had a wake up call. And what happened was one day when I came back from my great job after my 10-hour day, and I was super tired and super hungry. So I grabbed the only food I could find in the house, some pistachio nuts, and I grabbed some cat food for my little furry friend. And I must have fallen asleep on the couch, but I wake up to the sound of my cat throwing up pistachio nuts and me realizing I ate a whole handful of cat food without even really realizing it. And it just made me realize that I was an eat, work, sleep zombie. And I was going through all of the motions, but I wasn't taking time. I wasn't making those micro moments to make my life more full, more joyful. And so that really led me to the epiphany that happiness is not about chasing a thing, it's not about a destination, but it's really about these series of micro moments that we create for ourselves. I mean, many times they happen to us or for us, happy things, but lots of times you have to create your own micro moments. And one thing that I do a lot, you can tell I'm a cat person by that story, but I've gotten accustomed to putting my cat in a stroller and taking him on these 2-hour walks every single night. And they are so much fun for me because I get to think, I get to talk to my cat. I talk to him like he's a person. I run across strangers and they're like, oh my God, it's a cat in that stroller, not a baby. And I'm like, yeah. And then they're like, and your cat is so fat. And I'm like, yeah, he is so fat. But it's like me time. And I think we all need me time to refresh and recharge our batteries and to replenish, because let's face it, you know, we do have to work and there are things that we have to do in life, but it's so important to have those micro moments, to find and make those micro moments. So for me, best part of my day is the end of the day when I throw Oliver into a stroller and we start walking and the adventure begins. My mind goes, I may put on the radio, I may dance in the middle of the street. I just feel like I come alive.
I think I need to get a picture of you walking your cat
Got one.
in the stroller. So yeah, send me a picture of that because I think I need to see that, and I may include that in the video here. So anyway, thank you, Peggy, so much for being here with us, and I hope you're having a great Happiness Happens month.
I am, and thank you so much for having me. What you do is so important, and I hope everybody learns how to flex their happiness muscle, because it really is a game-changing skill, and everybody has the power within themselves to do that.
Thank you. And that's coming from your favorite. My favorite thing is you call yourself the Happiness Rainmaker. So love that title. Keep sharing your happy too.